Hello, I'm Raingard Esser. I'm reader at the University of the West of England. I'm an early modernist and particularly interested in the early modern history of the Netherlands. And today I would like to introduce you to a particular region in the Netherlands, and would like to talk a little bit about regional agency, fault lines of regional identity, markers of regional identity, and various other aspects which I think are important for an understanding of regionalism and regionality in Western Europe. The region that I have chosen for this presentation is Limburg, and I've put on here the flag of Limburg and the coat of arms of Limburg. Limburg is a Dutch province. It's in the southeastern corner of the Netherlands. It has a geographical size of 2,153 square kilometers. This is just land. If we add all the waterways, rivers and lakes in the region, it would be a little bit bigger. It is reasonably densely populated with 1,131,938 inhabitants as of 2006, probably growing. The administrative centre of the region is the city of Maastricht, in the south of the province, and its economic makeup is largely based on agriculture or horticulture, market gardening, but also with very substantial industrial pockets. And over the last 10 years, the region has developed as a major center for international logistics, particularly along the border with Germany, where large companies have set up their bases to trade and to deal with the rest of Europe. Limburg is, as you can see on the map, is on the southeastern corner of the Netherlands. It's surrounded by Belgium on the western side, Germany on the eastern side. It has a rather odd, unusual shape for a Dutch province, and there are reasons why Limburg looks as it does. Limburg must not be confused with the German bishopric of the same name, situated in the southeast Germany. There is also a Belgian province of Limburg in northeast Belgium. So on the western side, on the western border, Dutch Limburg is paired, accompanied by Belgium Limburg can look back on a rather turbulent and complicated history, again typical, I think, for that part of the world in the Middle Ages. It was part of the rather powerful duchy of Gelders, or Gelderland. In the Middle Ages, it was known as the part of Upper Gelders. Gelders then, the whole of Gelders became part of the Habsburg Empire under Charles V in the Treaty of Venlo in 1543, after a prolonged war between Charles V and the Duke of Gelders, another Charles. The 80 Years' War in the Netherlands also brought very turbulent times for this part of the world, where the stretch that later became the province of Limburg was subject to changing allegiances and changing overlords, lending hands between Spanish forces and the forces of the United Provinces. War eventually ended in 1648 with the treaties of Westphalia, where this part was ceded to the Spanish Habsburgs and became part of the Spanish Netherlands from 1648 onwards. But this wasn't to last. Limburg was again subject to very turbulent times from the 1650s right until 1792. It faced a series of different overlords French troops were in the area, then came back to the Spanish Habsburg, it became part of the Austrian Habsburg, and in 1794 it became part of the French département Nedermaas. In 1815, the province became part of the newly established Dutch kingdom under King William, but some areas of the northeast were ceded to the Prussian Rhinelands. Again, this provision didn't last very long. In 1839, after the Belgian Revolution, when the Belgian state was established, the southwestern part of Limburg was again ceded from Limburg and became the Belgian province of Limburg. Hence, the rather elongated size of the province, which had been parts of which had been shipped away over the centuries. There are, I think, some important agents of regional identity in the province, and there's substantial research being undertaken on regional identity, probably even more than in many other provinces because of its turbulent history. And one key player in establishing, tracing, perhaps also creating regional identity is the Sozialhistorisches Zentrum für Limburg at Maastricht University, which is particularly concerned with the social, economic and social cultural history from the foundations of the province, so from 1815 to today. This center was established in 1950, so it has already a very long tradition. It is chaired by a director from the university, so chaired and populated by academics, but it also reaches out to the population in Limburg through popular public lecture series and publications which try to embrace community groups, local history groups, the wider public and the academic community working on Limburg's identity. Further details can be taken from the website of the center, which is provided on the slides. The second agent, key agent of Limburg's identity, has been provided, is provided by the Limburg's Museum in Venlo, established in 2002 and funded by the province itself. It is a museum which is particularly interested in the cross-border identity of the area. Its mission statement claims that it wishes to cross national and provincial borders. Here's an image of the very splendid museum, which at the moment, this recording is from early June 2010, at the moment is hosting a new permanent exhibition on exactly the questions that we are interested in on regional identity through the centuries, and further research into the website, also perhaps a visit to the museum, will shed further light, I think, on self-perception and representation of Limburg to its local population, also to visitors to the region. It's a very lively museum which has a large educational program for schools in the vicinity, but is also very attractive, I think, for visitors to the region. And it's a very inspiring and interesting place to be, but also, I think, a center, a focus for Limburg identity. Other agents of identity, of Limburg's identity, are actually, I think, to be found outside the region. The establishment of two Euregios, international regions, in the region in 1976, Euregio Meuse-Rhine, bringing together the areas, border areas of Belgium, Germany and the Netherlands, and the Euregio Rhine-Meuse-North, 1978, bringing again together the border region and northern border region between Belgium, Germany and the Netherlands, have done much to foster and create the cross-border identity of Limburg as a region. I mean, you Euregios, I think in particularly these early Euregios were mainly focused on facilitating cross-border economies, cross-border social movements, and cross-border mobility. But on the back of these rather practical, pragmatic policies, cultural politics have also played and are playing part of the Euregios remit. I've also added a third European agent of identity, of Limburg identity, with reference to the European Charter for Regional and Minority Languages, which has accepted and included Limburgish, an East Franconian language, in 1997 under its chapter 2 as a language which needs and requires, deserves moderate protection. Markers of this identity are the language, as pointed out, and there are 1.6 million speakers, apparently, of Limburgish. So it is a language which is a cross-border language, which is spoken by speakers in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Germany. There is also a distinct Limburg dialect, which is also instantly recognizable and is a typical feature of the region, probably more than Limburgish, the language, Limburgish, the accent, the dialect, is a prevalent sign of a linguistic identity in the region. Religion has been, and probably still is, a prominent marker of the region, of the province. The area is predominantly Catholic. 80% of Limburg's population were Catholic in 1999. These figures might have gone down a little bit, but it's also a characteristic feature not just of the province itself, but its surrounding area as well. Belgium, of course, is predominantly Catholic, and the German neighborhoods, the German vicinity of Limburg is also Catholic. So as much as it identifies Limburg, it also identifies Limburg as part of the Euregios of the area. Hand in hand with Catholicism, festivals, Catholic festivals such as Carnival and other organized festivities have been highlighted as distinct markers of regional identity. And cross-border identity, I mentioned that. I think these markers are also seen as part of a cross-border identity that is seen as a typical feature of Limburg's region. These markers of identity are highlighted prominently by the museum that I mentioned, and here are a few exhibits from the museum, which has a large section on Catholic culture, cross-border culture, such as pilgrimages to shrines across the border, festivals which incorporate and include people from the vicinity, from across the border, under a Christian Catholic umbrella, and so forth. It's a very strikingly international cross-border exhibition that has been brought together in a country which, in popular perception, is still seen as predominantly Protestant. There's also a carnival section in the Limburg's museum, paying homage to Venlo's large tradition of carnival festivals. There are, however, cracks in this story, and I've put them together just for the 20th century under the heading fault lines, because there are shadows of the past hanging over Limburg's identity which need to be highlighted, but which again I think are symptomatic, characteristic of regional history in this area in the 20th century.